WWE Stomping Grounds.
Alright, what's up? I'm going to try a new type of video right now, and I have 2 hours to record, edit, and post this. So I woke up a little bit early before work to attempt to do this, so hopefully I can get it all in. Anywho, so I guess a quick little back history. On the day after Memorial Day, so I guess that Tuesday, SmackDown Live came to Tulsa, and the wife and I were like, well, we're not doing anything at all. This might be entertaining. Let's go. It's actually kind of her idea. She's like, let's try it. It'll be fun. So I was like, sure, whatever. So I went to the box office that day and got tickets. And so we went and we watched the show. Had absolutely no idea what to expect because I don't know about her, but I'd never seen really anything wrestling whatsoever. The only connection I have to WWE was a lot of my friends were into it in high school, and we're talking, the late 90s, early 2000s. And to me, it just looked like a 3-hour-long Jerry Springer show. All I saw was highly overacting, just shenanigans, and it just looked like Jerry Springer. So I never really paid any attention to it. So anyway, so she's saying we should go, and I'm just getting images in my head of this might be entertaining, watching them basically fighting in a large pool of pudding or some nonsense like that, because that's basically what I associate wrestling with, which is complete over-the-top Jerry Springer-like shenanigans. We go to the event, and for those of you who saw that particular episode, started off with Kofi defending his title against Kevin Owens or something to that effect. They fought anyway. And that was the Shane McMahon Appreciation Night. And what else happened that evening? I think Carmella fought up against Mandy Rose. The dark match at the beginning was Ali. And so that was really entertaining. It started off the entire night with his entrance. And then dark match at the end was Bayley versus Charlotte Flair. And so that was also entertaining. Yeah, there was something that had to do with Charlotte. Somebody got in a fight, and somebody threw her on stage. I don't quite remember who threw her on stage. Was it Bayley? I don't quite remember. But there was a fight, and it spilled over into the announcer's thing, and somebody grabbed Charlotte and threw her up on in the ring, and that was entertaining. And then after SmackDown was over taping, they did a 205 taping. And the wife really got into the Jack Gallagher shtick thing. And so she fell, in love with the overall thing just because of him. And while we were there, we were at the concession stand, and she wanted to get a collectible drink cup. And so we were looking on the side, and she's like, who's this steampunk-looking girl? She looks kind of cool. But unfortunately, the steampunk girl didn't show up to the show that night, so who knows. So we came home, and basically the extent of it was, well, that was entertaining, and that was about the end of it. I was reading a little bit online about that particular show, because I was wanting to see kind of what the general public felt and that kind of thing, and I saw some people on Twitter or Facebook or somewhere saying something to the effect of talking about WWE Network, and then I saw somebody else respond to the effect of, I don't know, I'm just going to catch it on Hulu tomorrow. So I was like, Hulu? So I pull up Hulu, and unfortunately there wasn't anything on there, so I guess they have like some sort of live Hulu package plan thing you have to pay for. It's not on the standard Hulu. But I did notice that, there was a USA Network app, so I downloaded the USA Network app and signed into that, and saw that they had the past 4 episodes of SmackDown and Raw on there. And so I was like, I'll give this a closer look. So I pulled up an episode of Raw from a few weeks ago and started watching that. And I believe it was actually the episode right after, the direct episode after Kevin Owens tried to infiltrate the New Day. So it was the episode when Big E allegedly got re-injured and they were making some strong allegations or something to that effect. I can't remember. Maybe that was SmackDown. I don't remember. That was probably SmackDown, actually, because Kevin Owens and the New Day. So the wife called me at work a few days later, and she was talking about, she was looking up some Gentleman Jack stuff online, or some other things, some Kevin Owens stuff online, this, that, and the other. And I was telling her, I said, I was looking at the USA app, and apparently you can watch each episode the day after they air on the USA app. And she's like, oh, really? And I said, yeah, we should definitely watch the Tulsa episode and see if we can catch ourselves on TV. The way that our work schedule works out, basically we can't watch any TV whatsoever if we want to watch it together until the weekend. So I told her, wait until Saturday, and we can watch it together. And she's like, well, I want to know what happened up to this point. So she went and binge-watched the entire 4 week leading up to that of Raw and SmackDown, both collectively, over the next few days on the USA Network until that weekend. And so we both watched the SmackDown episode together. And then, by that point, she hadn't seen the next Raw, so we went ahead and watched the next Raw and the next SmackDown. And she absolutely fell in love with it. So leading up to Super Showdown, I was like, well, this is a pay-per-view, so we can't actually watch this one. So I was like, well, I should go online and get the free month of WWE Network. We can take a look and see what all that has to offer. And so I went and downloaded that, and so we can watch Super Showdown. And so we watched Super Showdown, and basically at that point we were pretty much sold on the whole thing. I guess that's a quick history. I actually have more thoughts to talk about the WWE Network, but I think I'll use that in a different video because that could be a 10-minute video all in of itself. So in a nutshell, that basically brings us up to Stomping Grounds pay-per-view last night. I just wanted to give a quick, brief history that I've only been watching wrestling for 3 weeks now. So I thought it'd be interesting to record a video review with that background, that context, because everybody else who's doing their video reviews have probably been watching wrestling for, a decade or something. We tuned in at about 6:30, and right about that time was right when they were getting ready to do the Cruiserweight Championship triple threat thing. Since I haven't watched any 205 whatsoever, I didn't know who any of these guys were. The wife, she's binged watched, good grief, a season and a half already of 205 in the past 2 weeks when she got home from work. So she knew exactly who all these guys were and their whole backstory. So I can't really offer any sort of pontification or anything like that. I should actually have her sitting here talk about that, but she's at work, unfortunately. But anyway, so I don't really have much to say. Drew Gulak, whatever his name is, he ended up winning, so go him. But that's about all I know. So leading into the actual show, I was looking on Twitter and I saw that Lynch versus Evans is actually going to be the show opener. I was really excited about that. So just a little bit more background. Whenever we went and saw SmackDown, Lacey Evans actually came in, and she was a part of that particular episode, even though she's on Raw. And I was really awestruck by her character, her demeanor, her person, if you will. She's a very intimidating, larger-than-life figure. And I thought that I was really impressed overall. All the women that we saw that night, my main takeaway was Bayley's awesome and Lacey Evans is awesome. Even though Lacey Evans may have to be the big bad guy, I was still really impressed with basically everything she brought to the table. So the weeks after that I've been able to see more of her, I see she's actually being portrayed right now as a big bad guy on the women's team. And she basically does not take any crap from anybody. But as far as how the women's division has gone, I was aware of the whole Divas thing, and quite frankly, I thought that was trash. It was just basically bra and panty fights. And, that's fine and all, but to me, that I just don't see, on that grand of a stage, it just seems really out of place, like it doesn't belong with the rest of the program. So the fact that after Lynch and Flair and Banks and those women came in and completely changed the game over. To me, it's much more competitive and more enjoyable to watch the women's division than what it was when it was just basically two women rolling around in baby oil fighting. As far as the way the division is set up now, basically at the very top we have Becky Lynch, who's been making a lot of buzz ever since WrestleMania. We're talking, in the past 2 months. A lot of freaking buzz just in the past 2 months of how she's commanded her position in that. And so I think right under her, as far as power players in the division, we have Lacey Evans. I think both of them are basically, in my mind, in the way I see it, at the absolute top of the game. And I think that Lacey Evans is much more of a power player than even Charlotte Flair. To me, Charlotte Flair is almost an afterthought after looking at how Lacey Evans handles herself in the ring and other things like that. So all the the circumstances, everything leading up to this particular fight, I was really excited for this particular fight because out of everybody, Becky Lynch, Lacey Evans, I think is probably about the most edge of your seat battle you can have in the women's division. And with, Lacey Evans is just larger than life as far as, her figure, her physique, she just, and her character, everything, she's just a really large personality. So, and Becky Lynch is a huge personality as well. She's not quite as built, I guess, in the physique. So I'm like, well, Becky Lynch clearly will have her hands full. So it was definitely an interesting fight to see that go nonetheless. So needless to say, I was expecting a really contentious battle, and I think what we saw was a pretty contentious battle. Started off with Becky Lynch calling all the shots, basically dominating, and then the tables turned, and Lacey Evans got the upper hand and started dominating. And me and the wife were both on the edge of our seat as Lacey is like pulling Becky Lynch by the hair and the leg over the turnbuckle. I'm like, that can't be legal. I think we need to call a foul on that one, or whatever you call it. I don't know. Blow the whistle, something. But they just let it keep on carrying on, so whatever. The thing is I was really perplexed by the ending, because Lynch does the disarm her move, and almost immediately when she gets her arm in position, Evans just starts tapping out. Like, she didn't even give it time to actually start working. She just immediately gets her, and she starts tapping out. So I thought that was kind of interesting how they played that out, because every other time I've ever seen Lynch pull that move, there's always a struggle with the person for about 5 to 8 seconds, and then they tap out. But she was, like, even when she was putting herself in position, Evans is already tapping out. So I don't know what was up with that, if they were just trying to rush to get to the next thing or what. But at any rate, other than that anomaly, I guess, I thought that was a fantastic opener. Probably one of the better wrestling openers I've seen in the past couple weeks since I've started, watching and paying attention. So after that, the next thing we have is a tag team match between Sami Zayn, Kevin Owens, and Big E and Xavier Woods of New Day. And wife absolutely loves Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn, and I really enjoy watching Sami Zayn as well. He's kind of my spirit animal, if you will. That's just my type of personality, so I can really connect with him. So, she's really excited for this battle. We both enjoy the New Day as well, so we really didn't have a dog in the fight when it came to that. But I think she was definitely much more Zayne Owens than anything. So it was interesting how they decided to go to get Exavier and just beat the living crap out of him for 10 minutes straight. And then at the last moment, Big E comes in and starts piling on the fight and the punches, but I think the damage was already done at that point. And we were both completely blown away that Zayne and Owens pulled out the W on this particular match. We were not expecting that. We figured that, as far as the fixes in for New Day, so we were just going to sit back and watch the story. But we were both really surprised that Zayne Owens ended up pulling out the thing. And the way they worked together was so fun to watch. I saw on social media a lot of people were saying that they should actually be in contention for some tag team titles, because the way they work together and handle themselves is actually much more technical, I thought, and much more in sync than even Daniel Bryan and Rowan. So I think that they should definitely be in contention for a tag team title. I think it would be pretty interesting to see that. After they got done, then we got Ricochet versus Samoa Joe for the United States Championship belt. Samoa Joe does a really good job of making you want to hate him. Just walking around being a big fat bully. And so it was not that hard at all to root against him. And I've been really impressed with watching Ricochet go for the past couple weeks. It seems like they keep on pitting him up against Cesario, whatever his name is. And those two guys are very technical and acrobatic as far as they perform. So it's almost like a show to watch those two go to each other. So I thought it was kind of an interesting change of pace to see him go against Samoa Joe, which is basically just a big refrigerator. He just relies almost exclusively on just brute force, whereas Ricochet is much more nimble and technical and that kind of thing. So it was interesting seeing them go, and it was interesting to see Ricochet actually get the title. And that, if I remember correctly from the announcer box, that's his very first WWE title. So go him. After that, we had the tag team match for the SmackDown Tag Team Championship between Daniel Bryan and Rowan versus Heavy Machinery. Wife absolutely loves Heavy Machinery, so she's really excited about that. And they absolutely cracked me up as well. So it was interesting to see that dynamic of them, who are much more animated and a caricature, versus Daniel Bryan and Rowan, who are much more just straightforward, serious, let's get down to business. And we both were really thinking that Heavy Machinery is going to pull out the win on this particular one. Because the odds are stacked up against Daniel Bryan when it comes to the sheer brute force. He's a smaller guy, but he can definitely handle himself against larger opponents. But we felt for certain that he was going to be completely out, when Otis started his worm thing. And then for some reason, it just didn't go that way, and they ended up pulling out the W. So we were both really surprised to see that go down, and we were kind of hoping that Heavy Machinery would get their first title. But maybe we'll have to say that for another day. Maybe we'll have to say that for the same day that Lacey Evans gets a title. So after that, we have the SmackDown Women's Championship, which is Bayley versus Alexa Bliss. So the past couple of weeks, we've been watching this whole Alexa Bliss, Nikki Cross thing develop, and I can definitely see where they're going to take this. It's definitely going to go in a direction where Nikki's going to get stabbed in the back, and then she's going to either fight it out directly with Alexa, or there's going to be a tag team match or something like that, to where she's going to draw another alliance from somebody who's better. And I'm almost anticipating that Nikki and Bayley are going to actually set up a decent alliance. I'm just calling this as far as the story is going, because Alexa's trying to set Nikki up against Bayley. I'm thinking there's going to be something to where Alexa's going to slip up on social media, or she's going to slip up in the locker room, or something is going to happen to where she's going to show her true colors, and then Bayley's going to be there to pick up the pieces. That's basically what I'm calling. It may not go that way, but that's kind of what I'm seeing. So with that particular fight, I was definitely more Team Bayley as far as that goes, because I just absolutely love her whole shtick, the sky dancers and all that. That the entire thing is just cool. And Alexa is fine, but as I said, have an odd feeling about her and her character, and I think that there's got to be some things amiss. I've heard that there was a drama in the past. I don't know anything at all about anything that's happened in the past with her, because I haven't really gone back and looked into that, so I'm not really sure about that. But, yeah, so I was definitely Team Bayley, and I was pretty excited to see Bayley pull out the W. This is basically kind of, as far as my mind, where things started to kind of get a little off track as far as the overall show goes. Now, not to say it wasn't fully entertaining, but to me, the Becky Evans, the Owens, Zayne, New Day, Ricochet, Samoa Joe, Daniel Bryan, Heavy Machinery, those first four matches, and even the cruiserweight, so I guess the first 5 matches, were just bang, 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 just hard hitting. And then things kind of started to slow down a little bit for the Bayley-Alexa Bliss fight. I think it's because, in my mind, there really shouldn't be a Bayley versus Bliss fight, because I don't know, I just haven't gotten invested enough in the character, so maybe there's some more backstory involved leading up to that. But from my mind, it just looks like 2 weeks ago, all of a sudden Alexa Bliss started interjecting herself and being like, you don't deserve the SmackDown belt, and blah, blah, blah. And so I'm like, well, I don't really know where this is coming from. Whereas everything else, it seems more, I understood and I saw that. Maybe all these other developments are newer developments, whereas her and those two are much older developments that have, kept going. So I wasn't really sure. But I was excited to see Bayley still pull out the W. And then after that was Roman Reigns and Drew McIntyre. And I think I'm about with the WWE fans when it comes to my growing exhaustion between this Roman Reigns, Shane McMahon feud. And every time that Reigns wins in any of these battles, they go backstage and Shane says, well, that's fine. Next week, we're going to set the record straight. So it's like, dude, can you just take a loss and just call it a day? We got to keep on drudging this nonsense up. So now, it's next week is going, or tomorrow, or tonight, I guess. Is it tonight or is it next week? I guess it's tonight. We got Roman Reigns versus Drew and Shane both in a 2-on-1 handicap match. It's like, dude, come on. I don't know. So I'm starting to lose patience with the Roman Reigns versus McIntyre Shane fiasco. I think there's much more they could do with Roman's character instead of keep on drudging up these same fights over and over and over. He beat Shane, it's over with, let's move on to something else. Let's call it a day. And then things kind of started to pick back up again with the WWE Championship with Kofi Kingston and Dolph Zigler. Now, I read and I've heard that Dolph has been kind of a mainstay for the past 15 or so years. I never heard of the guy before, so I guess that shows how much WWE has pushed him, because pretty much the only guys I've had heard of is like, The Rock and Stone Cold and the super, super huge guys. So he was definitely a mid-card player, so I never even heard of the guy before until we started watching this. But after watching him, I feel like he kind of got the short end of the stick, because I think that Dolph could have definitely been a major player if Vince company had set it up better in his early career to have been, he could have definitely, I don't know about being a Stone Cold, The Rock type of player, but I think he could have definitely have led some cards, definitely. I don't know. I'm not really sure. But I feel like that they definitely did a disservice as far as how they handled him, from what I've understood throughout the years. But, so he keeps on coming up. Dolph and Kofi is basically about the same thing that I see is with Roman Reigns and Shane McMahon. They just keep on beating the same battle over and over and over. This is, the third time now these two have squared off in the past 2 weeks. Or 3 weeks or so. I don't know. So, now we have a steel cage. And I've seen a few steel cages the past couple of weeks watching, various fights on WWE Network. And I thought the ending for this one was definitely much more exciting. Because they had the gate open, and Dolph looked like he was about to spill out just on the floor from exhaustion. And then Kofi just randomly jumps out the door across the ropes and lands on the floor. And I hadn't seen that before in all the few still cages I've watched the past few weeks. I thought that was pretty interesting. The show closes off with a Universal Championship of Seth Rollins versus Baron Corbin. Now, this particular fight's been building up for, a few weeks, and Seth pretty much beat down the entire Raw division last week with a steel chair because he didn't want anybody to be judging the fight, and so he pretty much beat the crap out of the entire Raw roster with a steel chair. And so they're sitting there, and they both made their entrances, and they're standing there ringside, and Rollins says, just hurry up and name your guy, but I don't care who it is, because whoever it is, we're going to get the same treatment that everybody else has gotten. And he's holding the chair. I look at my wife at that moment, and I said, I guarantee you that I was just thinking, I just automatically got this, and I said, I guarantee you that the judge is going to be Becky Lynch. Because I just got to thinking, I'm going to give the same treatment to this person that everybody else has gotten. I'm thinking, I bet he picked a girl. But I'm an idiot. And I wasn't quite thinking on the level that Lynch and Rollins, kind of have a thing going. I forgot about that. And so I was just thinking he's going to just grab some random girl. I wasn't even thinking about Lacey Evans. And then he announced Lacey Evans. I was like, oh, well, that makes all the sense because she just got her butt handed to her not even 2.5 hours ago. So here she comes down. And so everybody's booing her, of course. Boo, boo, boo. But I thought it was a pretty cool choice. I thought it was a pretty good choice. If you're going to have some random person officiating a match, I think that she was absolutely the most entertaining person they could have picked. I mean, if it had been Elias up there, I don't think it would have been nearly as entertaining whatsoever. If it had been EC3 up there, I don't think it would have been nearly as entertaining. So they definitely picked the most entertaining person in the entire roster to officiate this particular fight. And of course, we all knew that the fix was in as soon as she came down. We all knew the fix was in because we all knew that it just wasn't going to go according to plan. And that's exactly what it went. She did all the typical tricks that you would think as far as slow counts, changing the rules mid-fight, things of that nature, not even counting at all. So everybody knew that there was going to be some shenanigans, and there was definitely some shenanigans. So as the match is going on, Rollins is getting beat up pretty good, and every single time he got any leeway, of course it didn't go in his favor, and so I think we're all just kind of waiting for an actual officiant to come down and take care of the situation. Close to the end, Rollins gets in Evans' face and starts getting mad, and then she smacks him a couple of times, and he gets back in her face, and then she does a low blow to him, and he falls over, and then Corbin picks him up and does his finisher move, and as soon as he hits the mat, you see in the background from the camera angle, Becky Lynch coming down the ramp, jumps up onto the ring, and just beats the living tar out of Lacey Evans. Just completely wipes her out. And then the referee John Cone comes down, who him and Corbin had some crosswords at, I believe it was Showdown, was it? Or last week, one or the other. And so he came down and he ended up officiating the rest of the match. And at that point, Rollins ended up getting the win. And then we get a 5-minute schmooze fest between Rollins and Lynch, which was cute and all that. So that was fun to watch, whatever. But it was definitely an entertaining end. I know I read on social media a lot of people were throwing fits about Lacey Evans officiating, and a lot of people were kind of disgusted at the Becky Lynch, Seth Rollins angle and all this other stuff. Well, I mean, it's not really an angle, it's real life, but still. I don't know, I was entertained. I thought it was fine. I thought Lacey Evans doing her nonsense was completely entertaining. It made what could have been another cookie cutter, run-of-the-mill match something worth watching, because we've already seen Rollins and Corbin. We've seen that like twice now in the past 3 weeks. We've already seen that match. So there's nothing more they can do to that match that hasn't already been done. We've already seen that match. So the fact that they put Lacey Evans in the mix to make it less predictable, that, again, it made it less predictable. It made you want to, well, it made me, as a viewer, want to continue watching because I didn't know what shenanigans she would pull out next. And so I thought that was a nice touch. Even though I was looking on social media and everybody was completely disgusted with the whole thing. Well, I guess not everybody. There was probably a vocal minority. Probably 8% of the entire viewing audience was disgusted with it, but they're the ones who are piling on about it and all this other stuff. But I didn't have any problem with it. I thought it was completely fine, plenty entertaining, and whatever. So with all that being said, it looks like Bayley defended her belt and kept it. Bryan and Rowan defended their belt and kept it. Samoa Joe lost his belt. Becky Lynch defended her belt and kept it. Tony Nese lost his belt. And Kofi Kingston defended his belt and kept it. And Seth Rollins defended his belt and kept it. So basically all the belt defenses were kept except for Ricochet got United States Championship. And Drew Gulak, whatever his name is, got the Cruiserweight Championship. Other than that, all the other belts were retained and defended. Going forward, what do we expect next? Well, what I expect is there's definitely going to be a Becky Lynch, Seth Rollins mix tag match. That's definitely going to happen. We all know that. That's in the works. I would like to see Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn go up against Bryan and Rowan for the tag championship. I would like to see that. I would also like to see Heavy Machinery maybe get another chance for the championship. I would like to see Shane McMahon eventually accept defeat and stop with trying to keep this nonsense going because you lost, dude. You lost. That's all there is to it. And it would be nice to see Dolph Zigler, finally get some recognition. From what I've seen on social media, he's been passed up for 15 years now as just a mid-card player. So it'd be nice to see him finally get some recognition. So, whatever. But it's been interesting seeing Kofi defend his title for the past couple months. So it's definitely been interesting seeing that. So I guess that's all I have to say. I don't really have much else to say on this particular thing. I just wanted to do a quick kind of a review and my take on what I watched because really I don't know much at all about wrestling. I've only been watching it for now 2 or 3 weeks. So I thought it'd be interesting to give more of a fresh perspective on this versus, the guys who've been watching it for 15, 20 years giving their same old tired commentary on these types of things. I will say in closing that after me and the wife have been more, coming out about this the past couple weeks. A lot of our friends have been piling on us on social media, telling us about how WWE sucks and it's stupid and it's dumb, and we need to watch AEW, we need to watch NJPW, we need to watch one of the other one, I can't remember what the other one was. Somebody said, if you're going to watch WWE, you need to watch NXT. Don't waste your time with Raw and SmackDown, this, that, and the other. We've been thoroughly entertained. So I don't quite see what the disconnect is between all that. Because personally, we've just been thoroughly entertained. And I've been seeing that they're saying in the news, well, not in the news, but, they're talking about ratings are down, attendance is down, this, that, and the other. Just to kind of give you an idea, again, we went and saw SmackDown May 27th, 28th, and right now is June 23rd, and the wife has already spent over $100 in WWE merchandise. And I realize that that's, a splash in the pan compared to the greater picture, but I'm just saying that, here's two people who knew absolutely nothing of the sort whatsoever. Just got into it a few weeks ago. And we've already spent $100 in just random merchandise for this particular piece of entertainment. So a lot of people are saying, oh, fans are disappointed, this, that, and the other. Yeah, the current fans who have been there for 30 years may be disappointed. But there's still new fans coming up. And those new fans are still spending money as they're coming up. So, is attendance down? Yeah. It's definitely down from, I'm watching older Raws and older SmackDowns when they're filling up 80,000 seat arenas. We saw them at the BOK where it was 20,000 seats and they had the top level taped off. So attendance is definitely down from what it was in the peak. Our ratings down, yeah, they're definitely down from what they were in the peak. But they're still attracting new viewers. They're still attracting new fans. I would say every single week they're probably attracting new fans. And then these fans are going out and spending money to buy merchandise, to buy tickets, to pay for pay-per-views, other things like that. So I think in the grand scheme of things, the organization is still healthy. They might be on a downtick right now. But I think that they're starting to pick things up. And definitely in the past couple of years, they made a lot of good strides to be going in the right direction. Like getting rid of the diva crap. That was probably the best decision they've made in the past 20 years, is getting rid of that diva crap. Now it's actually something entertaining and worth watching. You're actually on the edge of your seat watching a Lacey Evans Becky Lynch fight instead of just going and getting popcorn or a refreshment break when they bring out the girls in their bras and panties who are fighting in a big kitty waiting pool of pudding. So, that's my thought on that. I wouldn't discount them just yet. If you're bored with it, then definitely go watch AEW. There's definitely something different to be offered there with that particular promotion. But I still think that WWE is still doing fine. They're still attracting new fans. They're still selling t-shirts. They're still selling tickets. It may not be as much as what it was, but they're still selling. So, I guess I don't have much else to say, so thanks for watching this completely long diatribe. I guess it's more like a podcast. So for those of you guys who watch or listen to a 3-hour podcast every week on wrestling, then I'm sure you can stomach to listen to this. But thanks for watching and peace out.